And we are looking at a live shot of the meeting room in Egypt, where soon President Trump will be landing. He just left Israel. He is aboard Air Force One, and it should be about a 45-minute trip to the area. And we are waiting on that, and we'll bring you full coverage as soon as we have it. Well, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Allison Hansen. Thank you for joining us this morning. Of course, we invite you to join the conversation on Getter and Rumble. Time now to take the political pulse of America. The beat today? Well, today marks day 738, more than 2 years since Hamas took hostages, the October 7th attack that killed 1,200 people. Today, Israel has received all 20 living hostages that were held in Gaza. They were handed over to the Red Cross, then to the Israeli military at the Reunited base in the south, where their families have been praying for this day for 738 days. Ambulances were on hand in case any of the hostages needed immediate care after more than 2 years of captivity. A moment of hope, healing, and heartbreak as Israel prepares for what could have been an end to this nightmare. President Trump paid tribute to those lives lost when he spoke to the Israeli Knesset earlier today, and here's what he had to say.
So as we celebrate today, let us remember how this nightmare of depravity and death all began. 2 years ago, on the eve of the Simchat Torah holiday, thousands of innocent Israeli civilians were attacked by terrorists, and one of the most evil and heinous desecrations of innocent life the world has ever seen, the worst slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. The cruelty of October 7th struck to the core of humanity itself. Nobody could believe what they were witnessing. The United States of America grieved alongside you, and we mourned for our own citizens who were so viciously taken that day. And to all the families whose lives were forever changed by the atrocities of that day, and all of the people of Israel, please know that America joins you in those two everlasting vows: never forget and never again.
And joining us now for the latest from D.C. is RAV Chief White House Correspondent Brian Glenn. Brian, good morning to you. What are you hearing from the White House this morning?
Well, I know that everyone is absolutely relieved and very celebratory that this peace has finally been achieved by President Trump. And I often said, and it's one of my first things I ever asked him in the Oval Office when he returned to the White House, is you want to be known as the peacemaker. And I think we've seen that play out numerous times. And today we get to see it play out live in front of us. But, you know, one of the things that one of my biggest takeaways is how fake the Democrats have been, Allison, in this outrage, in this call for peace and ceasefire, all of this stuff that we have heard for years since October 7th, when the attack happened from Hamas. We have heard nothing but ceasefire, peace plan, all of this. We finally get it, and it's crickets in tumbleweeds, not only in front of the White House, where there is no celebratory praise for President Trump for basically making this peace deal, but right here in front of our office, in front of our studios, it's been nothing but every day banging pots and pans, calling for a ceasefire, calling for peace. And where are they? As I walked in this studio today, no one is out there. As I get on X to find out, where is Rashida Tlaib? Where's AOC? Where's the praise from the Democrats towards President Trump for finally bringing peace in the Middle East and ending this death and destruction? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's fake outrage. It should anger everyone, because we have been told that President Trump is going to create chaos and war around the world. And in fact, he's brought peace to the Middle East, the most historical place. So I'm sorry if I've turned the page a little bit. I'm very gracious and I'm very happy that we are seeing what needs to happen. But I am also a little angry that we have been finger wagged by the Democrats so much for getting peace in the Middle East. We finally do it, and it's crickets.
Well, let me just say, Brian, I mean, yes, 1,000,000%. I'm ready for you to storm off the set right now. But yes,
for sure.
So look, here's another thing to kind of get your hide up a little bit. How about the security around President Trump at the Knesset? What the heck? I mean, talk about a scrum. I mean, that didn't seem too secure.
No, not at all. And for someone who's traveled with the president probably more than a lot of people, I know how secure and how organized and how detailed they are as far as allowing people to get in kind of that inner bubble. Today was a rugby match, is what you saw, for lack of a better term. It was loose. It was fluid. They had people walking across the shot. You got people, the media was all up in it. I am blown away of how loose that security was today, and just praise God that he got out of there without any idiot popping something off, and for lack of better terms. But yeah, David, I was very shocked, because I know that when those leaders come to this country, they get the finest motorcade. They get all the security that escorts them in to the White House or wherever they're going to go here in D.C. I did not see that today. And hopefully the security team there can learn a little bit of a lesson and watch the playback and go, wow, we probably should have secured that a little tighter.
I think so. Rugby match. I think you termed it perfectly. That was wild. Brian, thank you.
This is my Brian Glenn right here. Brian, this is me doing you right now with the finger. I love it, my friend.
Brian, take a breath. Take a breath. It's going to be a long day, okay?
Let me refresh Rashida Tlaib and AOC's account real quickly. As of 9:40, yes, no tweet for praising. It's just about the government shutdown, which, by the way, we need to open it up. That's true, but
okay. There's always Fetterman. There's always Fetterman.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Well,
Thank you.
Turning now to the human element. Israel has now received all living hostages from Hamas. Here's what it looked like when hostage Bar Cooperstein was reunited with his family after 2 years of captivity in Gaza.
אתה חייב לשתות קצת, נשמה, טיפה טיפה. הוא ביקש לשלוח את זה לחדשות, לשלוח את זה? למי לשלוח?
Unbelievable. Joining us now for more is former Israeli diplomat Shahar Ehsani. Shahar, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Allison, to all of you and to all of us in Israel and around the world who seek justice and humanity in welcoming those innocent live hostages back from the most evil place, the dark tunnels of savage Hamas in Gaza. It's truly a miraculous day.
It sure is. What do you think is the international reaction to what's happening at this point?
Well, I think the basic thing is clear. Anybody who has any shred of humanity or decency within them needs to stand and applaud not just the return of the hostages, but also the morality shown by President Trump in Israel today, the humanity, the ability to look reality in the eye, and that wonderful speech at the United Nations. While they were trying to tamper with his escalator and teleprompter, the president stood there and made no nonsense of looking that reality in the eye and focusing on what's important, which is remembering the October 7th massacre, how this all began, and focusing on the return of the hostages, dead and alive. We're still waiting for the 28 bodies of the deceased. Hamas indicated earlier that they will only deliver 4 today, which is a breach of the agreement. We want to welcome all of them back home.
Yeah. Shahar, listen, this is such an emotional day, I'm sure, obviously, in Israel. How do you kind of maneuver through that, knowing that here we go, phase two now going to be negotiated. Hamas is not going to agree to any of this phase two stuff. They're not. So what does that mean for the region? And I get it that the president has Arab buy-in, which is great. That's very important. But I'm concerned about this peace summit, or this international peace summit that's going on in Sharm el-Sheikh, because, you look at the cast of characters that have been invited to this. This feels like a two-state solution peace summit of some sort. Like, I don't know. Give me your take on what's going on here.
You're absolutely correct, David. So let's divide it into two. First of all, it's the return of the hostages. This has been our focus for the last couple of years. For all of these chanting death to America and death to the US on our streets, who supposedly have been wanting to see this end, this could have ended a year and a half, 2 years ago. First of all, Hamas should have never started this. And when they did, the minute that they would have returned the hostages and put down their weapon, we would have seen an end to this suffering. But having moved, now that we need to move forward, we really have to be very cognizant of reality, not abide by the rules of October 6th, when we chose not to believe those chants and slogans, when we refused to look reality in the eye. And you're absolutely correct that Hamas will not put down their weapon. But at this point, all options are on the table. Israel will never make the same mistake again, and will never afford itself to make the same mistake again, as not look reality in the eye and allow the festering of such a monstrosity to be on our very border. You're talking about a two-state solution. I call it the two-state delusion. The Palestinians already had a state. They had a state of their own, which was given to them after Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip. We all saw the result of that sovereignty. Billions of dollars that made their way into Hamas's hands from Qatar, from Arab states, and from Western donor nations did not go to build hospitals or shelters. They went to build tunnels for terrorists, climaxing in the most horrendous massacre on the global stage that we've seen of Jews since the Holocaust, separating babies from their mothers, executing elderly people in their wheelchairs. It was the purest manifestation of evil. So what does the future hold? First of all, we have to stop patronizing Palestinians. They need to take responsibility and behave like adults. They need to mature and grow up. They need to de-radicalize their own society in a move that may take a month, a year, a decade, maybe 50 years, until they're able to disentrench themselves from the tunnels of hatred, not just physically dug in Gaza, but dug into their hearts. We remember the Palestinian summer camps where children are taught about how to properly massacre an infidel or a Jew, how to kill a Zionist. That has to end. And there is no future for Palestinians or for the region as long as they are controlled by this kind of hatred, whether it's espoused by Hamas or the Palestinian Authority or any other organization. And Israel cannot allow this to happen.
Shahar, we'll have to leave the conversation there, but this is a conversation that we absolutely will continue with you and others in the future. It is always good to see you, my friend. Shalom, as they say.
Thank you for having me. Shalom and todah to the United States and to President Donald Trump for that kind of leadership on the global stage.
Amen.
Thank you so much, my friend. Coming up, we'll look at the very latest in the hostage releases and returns that are happening right now across Israel. That's next as we look at a picture of the 20 living hostages who were returned today to their homes and to their families.